This is a video about my makeup being stinky.
Hello, welcome. I'm Hannah. The whole purpose of this video might be a non-issue to some, but it's an issue enough to me that I wanted to title a video after it. I've made two recent purchases and I've realized that both of them smell like art supplies. I've heard various things about why makeup could smell like that. Sometimes makeup smelling is a sign of it being bad. Sometimes it's just a sign of the chemicals that were used to make it not being covered up. But as someone who puts on makeup because I like it, like I'll come home, I'll put on makeup, and then I'll go for a jog and take a shower. I just want my experience putting it on to be pleasurable. And I really enjoy my eyeshadow smelling neutral or good, if anything. But my recent purchases from Odin's Eye and Simply Posh smell bad. At times I've thought the Simply Posh ones smell worse, but then sometimes I think the Odin's Eye ones smell worse. I did notice the Simply Posh ones as soon as I opened the package, and the Odin's Eye I didn't realize right away, but they smell enough that I have been keeping them separate in this palette. I haven't wanted to mingle them with my other eyeshadows because I'm scared of them making my other eyeshadows smell bad also. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about some dupes for these, perhaps, or some comparable shades. I also have the Northern Lights palette from Simply Posh Cosmetics. I had pre-ordered this at the end of December and it came at the end of January, and I had told someone on Instagram DMs that I would do an eye swatching video of this palette, but based on my first impression of it being stinky, I don't want to be a resource to people trying to buy it because I am uncomfortable with the way it smells. It's funny, one of the big perks of this palette, I wanted this palette for so long, by the way. I wanted this palette for close to a year, I think. And one of the pulls about it was that it's a magnetic palette, so I could put these in with my other shadows, customize palettes in here. But because they're stinky, I don't want to. I haven't totally decided yet if I am going to declutter this or not. I am going to put a couple in my eyes today, just for fun. I did have Surreal and Polar on my eyes before, and Polar I wasn't that impressed with. Surreal I thought was really pretty, and I think you can kind of tell in the pans which ones are going to be prettier. I will do swatches of this, arm swatches. But yeah, perhaps we'll start with the Odin's Eye ones. Okay, I went through and I pulled out some comparable shades, so let's talk about Odin's Eye. I still feel similarly to how I did about the Odin's Eye shadows in the video that I posted a couple weeks ago. I did like them. They did crease a lot. Towards the end of the video, I showed footage of me at the end of the day where it was very creased, but that is something that happens with some shadows of mine, and I don't always completely write them off because of that. But if I have similar shades and one creases and one doesn't, I probably will be favoring the ones that don't crease, obviously. So I'm not going to be leaving this on forever to be able to see, but I will leave it on at least during this Odin's Eye segment. My favorite shadow from the video was Judy, and this is the one that I showed at the end. I showed how creasy it was at the end, and I'm going to pop that on my left eye. Okay, pretty. And the shadow that I have that I think this one's most comparable to is Nocturne Ash from Divina, which is probably my favorite shadow that I tried last year. And this is a formula, I've worn it a bunch of times, I really like it. Let me turn down my light a little bit. I think you can see it is a pretty similar color. I think right now, Nocturne Ash does look a little bit more pink. And this one actually looks like it has a little bit more depth to it, but pretty similar colors. And you can see that golden flip to both of them. I'm gonna leave this on for a little bit and see how it goes. I haven't decided to get rid of all the Odin's Eye based on the stinkiness or anything, but I feel like the couple that I keep, I want to keep in the little containers because I just don't want them mixed in with the rest of my makeup. So I do have two of these. I might buy one or two more if I need to, but I'm kind of looking for reasons to declutter some of the shades, and if I conclude that Nocturne Ash is just a better Judy, I might just not keep Judy, even though it was my favorite color out of those. I'm actually gonna do all of the purples at once. So I have Judy here. Pretty. I have Robert. This is one of the regular shimmers. This one's not a multi-chrome, and it also wasn't one that really impressed me. It was towards the bottom of my list. And then we have Chloe, which is a lighter dusty purple, very shimmery, and I did like this one also, but I don't think it's the most unique. I will say also, before we get any farther, I'm not a dupes channel. I'm not purposely buying makeup that's similar to each other. I picked out these Odin's Eye shades because I thought they looked either really pretty in the case of Judy and I couldn't resist, or really unique for my collection. So I won't be surprised if I don't have spot on dupes, but maybe this will be helpful if you were eyeing any of the shades. And also it could be helpful to me in considering decluttering some of the shades that I don't like because they're stinky. Okay, I know someone asked about Glam Rush from Shine by SD. I love the shadow. I feel like I haven't used it on my eyes in ages. And you can see it's a similar vibe to Judy, but it's way more purple, and Judy's more pink, more of like a reddish pink. I think you can see also Glam Rush is a much more dimensional shadow than these two are. I remember wearing this in a public bathroom once, and I looked in the mirror in like, you know, the dull overhead lighting, and my eyeshadow was like bright green, and it looked so pretty, and it was just Glam Rush. Next, I'm going to swatch Royalty from Cleona. This one's more of a bluish purple. If anything, I would say this is like a more vibrant Robert. Next, I'm going to swatch Insane from JD Glow. I know a lot of people aren't buying from them at the moment because of some confusing messaging that they had, but I thought this might be helpful if you already have it in your collection. I was thinking this might be kind of similar to Chloe, but you can see it's much more bright. It has much more of a base to it, and it's very blue. Glaminatrix Gleam, I also think might be similar to Chloe. It's a very soft, sparkly shade. This one also has more of a base, but I feel like it has a similar like type of like wet looking sparkle. And even though they're not the same, I feel like it might be enough for me. Interesting. I have Hydra from Terra Moons. This one I feel like might look like a combination of some of them. Hydra reminds me of like a prettier Robert, I would say. And that might be enough of a comparable shade for me also. I feel like that's the thing also, that like when it comes to dupes, you don't necessarily need it to be the same exact tone and everything. Sometimes it's good enough if it like fills the purpose or fills that same spot in your heart. But I also will like very rarely call something a dupe because of that. I have this one from Adept. This is ACD 11. I know this isn't available anymore either, but I thought maybe it could be helpful if you already have it. This one's much darker, but also gives me vibes of Robert. ACD 5 from Adept. I want to compare this one also to the Northern Lights palette, but I think it might be similar to Chloe. This is such a unique shadow, and I'm obsessed with it. I think it's much more of an interesting shadow than Chloe is. The more I look at Chloe, it's just like, you know, some straightforward light sparkle. This one does have some like warm brown in the base, but on the surface, it is a similar type of sparkle. This one might have more blue in the sparkle though. Stormy Morning from Luxie. I don't have this many comparable shades for most of them, but I thought I would just grab out all the purples that might be helpful. Very different color, but if you have this, it might fill your need for Judy, because they are both in that like in-between purple and pink color story. And I just wanted to wrap that up with a swatch of Nocturne Ash as well. I love that shadow so much. And I think that probably is the most similar to Judy. But you might get your fill with any one of these. But yeah, I think I would choose Hydra for Robert. I would choose Glaminatrix Gleam for Chloe, and I would choose Nocturne Ash for Judy, even though none of them are exactly the same. Just sitting here with my Forbidden palette open and these on my arm, like, I smell it. I smell it and it's driving me crazy. Okay, next we'll talk about Charlotte, because I don't have much for this one. This is one I didn't like very much. It just felt very thin when I pick it up on my finger. It's an interesting shade. It has a ton of sparkle over this like really pretty raspberry base, but I don't love it. I just don't feel anything in my heart when I look at this shade. I mentioned in that video that it kind of reminded me of like a deeper version of Unexplainable. So I'll do a swatch of Unexplainable next to it, but I think Unexplainable from Shine by SD is just such a good shade. And actually, I'm surprised to see that the base color from them isn't that different. They're both a similar shade of like raspberry hot pink, but the flip of Unexplainable is like way more intense. Like these look so different right now, but so similar like that. So that's interesting. Cool. I'm really glad I'm doing this comparison because I did not know that it would be so similar. I have Second Love from Shine by SD also. I'm not sure if this one's still available. This was one of the first shades I ever bought from them in 2020, and I don't love it, but it's survived up until this point. This one definitely has more orange in it, more of like a corally color. Yeah, and doesn't have the sparkle like that. And then also I wanted to compare it to Ruby Stars from Terra Moons. I believe the shade has been recently discontinued. I'm not positive, but you might have it. And I thought they would be more similar. I'm actually shocked that I feel like it's most similar to Unexplainable, but it's also like really just being shown up by Unexplainable. Yeah. Unexplainable, Second Love, Ruby Stars. Let's talk about the greens, because these were two of my favorite shadows from the Odin's Eye collection. This is a regular shimmer. It's called Kevin, which I like because it's my boyfriend's name, but I was also really impressed with this one because I felt like it was darker shimmer on top of a lighter base, which is pretty like opposite of what you normally see in shadows. And Ingrid, which is like a lime green with like peachy reddish sparkle in it. This one's a multi-chrome. So let's look at these. Okay, we have Kevin. I think you can kind of see what I mean there. Very interesting shade. And Ingrid, which did not even look green at first swipe. I saw some comments in my comment section on that video saying that I think it's Prismatic is a dupe for Kevin, Prismatic from JD Glow. I don't have that shade, and again, JD Glow, a lot of people are choosing to not purchase from them, but that is an interesting thing to know if that's something that you have. The only one I pulled out to compare to Kevin is Space Case from Terra Moons, but I already know this one's, it's not going to be the same, and this is more of like a lime green over like a brownish base, and Kevin is all green. I was also asked about Mural from Cleona, and this shadow I definitely see the similarities in vibes, but I do think of them very differently. Let's just swatch it here. I think Mural has more mint to it, whereas Ingrid just has that like lime green. I do wonder how this compares to Royal Peach from Cleona. Not Royal Peach. Royal Pear from Cleona. That one is on my wish list, and they actually had a restock earlier this week, but they sent an email in the morning that maybe I read half asleep, but I thought they were like restock Monday. So I was like, okay, next Monday. But then at like 2 o'clock, they were like, restock in an hour. And I was like, oh, it's this Monday. So I wasn't prepared to make a purchase, but I am curious if Royal Pear is a good enough comparable shade for Ingrid, but maybe Mural would just like work for me for now. I don't know. I haven't even worn Ingrid since that video. I brought it with me on a recent weekend trip, but I didn't wear it the whole time I was away. And looking at it now, it doesn't look quite as impressive. next to these two shades, and even next to Kevin. I feel like Kevin glows, and Ingrid is just kind of like hanging out. Like the green in it and the peach in it just don't look that far off from each other somehow. I don't know. And then the final two Odin's Eye shades I have are kind of the more neutral multi-chromes. I have Isabella and Maja, both of which I liked. I think Maja I ranked, I don't know, 3rd in the video, I think. Yeah, and I think I ranked Isabella 5th. And I don't have that many comparable shades for either of these. I didn't see any specific questions on my video, and then when I was looking through, I didn't see that many. That one's Isabella, and this one is Maja. For Isabella, I put it on a couple days ago, and it just didn't stand out on my lids the way that I want my shadow to, and I ended up covering it up before I wore it out. It also was, as I just said, the multi-chrome that I was least impressed with in the video, and looking at it, I don't really feel much. Maja, I do like how that looks. That looks like bold and bright, and I like that. The shadow that I pulled out to compare both of them to is Mercury from Terra Moons. This is one of their gray-based multi-chromes, and I know it's a really pretty shadow. Oh, I'd say that's definitely comparable to Isabella. Dare I even say it's a dupe? I know I just said I never say things are dupes, but it does have that same, like, reddish, copperishness to it. If that's not a dupe, that's really close, and that makes me feel confident in letting go of Isabella. Let me see if I could find Venus. I think Venus is going to be more pink, but let me look in my collection. Hold on. Okay, I pulled out Venus, and I stumbled on one more in my travels throughout my palettes. So this is Venus from Terra Moons. It's also a gray-based multi-chrome, and it's a shadow that I love in the same way that I wanted to love Maja, just as something kind of like neutral, but bright, unexpected. But yeah, you could see Venus is definitely like a pink shade, and I wouldn't call Maja pink. And then the other one I stumbled upon is Until Dawn from Luxie. I thought this had that same kind of like cornflower yellow golden brightness. Okay, I'd say this one is a little bit more subdued, a little bit more brown, but like it's in the family. And let's do a check-in on my eyelids. Okay, I don't know exactly how long it's been, like maybe 20 minutes or something like that. But maybe it's hard to look and close my eye at the same time, but I think we can see the crease starting to form in there. And I don't think I see that for Nocturne Ash. You'll have to let me know. My eyes are closed. But I will leave it on for a little bit longer. Okay, I did actually just take a break for like an hour. If you hear my computer working really hard, I'm trying to export another video. But I think it's pretty clear. Like, I can definitely see more now that the Divina looks fantastic, and the creases are really coming along in the Judy. As I said, I want to reiterate that creasing isn't always a done deal for me, but I have other reasons why I don't like this also, and these shades are so similar that I could be talked out of this one by means of having two things that are like the same but one's better, you know? Let's move on to the Simply Posh stuff. I do feel bad. I know they're like a small brand, and I'm not trying to put out any negativity, but I do just want to share my experience because I know I shared that I was purchasing from them, and I am surprised to hear none of this from anyone else. I haven't heard any whisperings on the Odin's Eye or the Simply Posh about them having an odd smell. So from Simply Posh, here are the 6 that I purchased. I bought 3 from each of the palettes. The teal, this like purpley one, and this lighter blue are from the Fairy Tales palette, and then this darker blue, this shimmer, and the green are from the Genuine Gems palette. I wore the shimmer once. I did a little look, I posted it on Instagram, and I thought it was really cute. But my problem with this is it's that like wet rock feel. Like you could see that it looks hard panned from where I touched it in the pan. And I've said before, I just feel like with eyeshadows, if they do that wet rock thing, even if they look good, I just don't like the experience of using them. I did really like how this looked though, but I'll give you a swatch. Like it comes up as if it's like textured, but it feels like touching nothing. I grabbed out a couple shades to compare this one to. I think these might be a little light, but we'll see. Majesty from Cleona, Caterpillar from Luxie, and Koi from Menagerie. We have Majesty, Caterpillar, and Koi. Yeah, you can see Majesty is definitely more of like a golden orange. But these are pretty similar, and I would say Caterpillar is the most similar. Yeah, very similar. The mattes, I haven't used that much. I did use the blue once, because in my February random selection, which I think I just posted when this video goes live, but I filmed that one a little over a week ago, I had pulled this darker blue and this lighter green. So I tried to do a look with the darker blue, and it transferred in my crease right away. That's not something I can remember experiencing with any other shadow, but it was weird and I wiped it off. The green I tried to use on my lower lash line. I mentioned that in the video too, that I covered it up with the Luxie shadow because I didn't like how it looked. It was just like weirdly splotchy. They felt very like watercolory, which is how I think of the Glam Light mattes also. So there might be an audience that really likes these, but they're just not a formula that really appeals to me. I can smell them holding them like this. I looked up the names. This orange one is called Carrot. This one is Jade. I mentioned this also in the randomly selecting eyeshadow video that they don't have any stickers on the back. They're just like completely nothing, which I mean, I don't like it. I wish they had a sticker on it. I saw this, and before I realized that I was not going to be wanting to keep them because of the stinkiness, I was like, I guess I'll have to order sticker paper. I'll have to figure out like a template so I could print out names for them. It's annoying. It's annoying. So I wonder if you can kind of see what I'm talking about. This like, I call it watercolor, but it's kind of like the sheer quality of that shadow. I just don't like how that looks very much. The blue is called Sapphire. You could see the sheerness in it too. I'll try to build it up because I know some people do swatch like that. That's how it looks a little bit more built up. I feel like you can tell also though that like it's already kind of like blurring on its edges. I don't know. This one is Storybook, which looked really pretty in swatches, but I feel like it looks so light. It is a pretty tone, but yeah, I don't feel like it would be very useful in eye looks. And then the last two from the Fairy Tales palette, I don't know which one is which, but one is called Mystical and one is called Magic. Here's the blue. And here's the teal. These shadows were only $3, which is good, but also like that's Luxie prices, and I love Luxie's mattes. I just wish Luxie had more colors. I have been wanting like a teal. This is actually a little bit more green than I wanted, but I've been wanting like a deep teal single shadow for a while. That's on my like wish list. I've been wanting to expand my collection of blues, so that's why I was intrigued by these two. But I feel like maybe I'll end up picking up some of the new Divina blues. They just came out with some in their, what's it called, Winter of the Wicked bundle, which was really cute, and I'm intrigued by those blues. If these worked, these would probably satisfy my needs, but since they don't, I'm still on the hunt. But yeah, these are shades that I don't really have comparable ones to, so I'm not going to try. No one's asking for comparisons of these mattes anyway, but yeah, I don't feel like it's such a tragedy to let them go because I didn't like my limited experiences with them anyway. We are officially on to the Northern Lights portion of our evening, and just one more, well, I'm not going to say one more as if it's like the last. Another note of me being kind of petty, I don't like how the front of this is like matte, and you can see all like the lines of like, I don't know, the image being low quality or something like that. The back is like this nice glossy feel. and I like that, but I don't like the texture of this, you know? Can you tell? Can you tell what I mean? Inside, I am intrigued to swatch this. I had been lusting after this for so long, and my experience of using these two, this one looked really nice, but I can smell it right now. I think this might even smell stronger than the other ones, and I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. Additionally, I mentioned before that these were magnetic, and that was a reason that I wanted it. These aren't magnetic. I tried it with my magnet tool, and the only thing that was picking up was the magnets that close it. I don't know why I thought it was magnetic. I scrolled through their Instagram trying to see if I left a comment asking at some point, because I felt like that might have been the case, but all I could find was someone else being like, I wish these were magnetic. So I guess that's just on me, but that is another bummer because I love when my single shadow palettes are magnetic and I can use them as part of my single shadow collection. I'm going to take these off and do like a little bit of eye swatching. This isn't like an eye swatch video, but I do want to stick a couple of them on my eyes for fun. So we'll do our final check-in of these two. Probably not much has changed since last time, but my eyes are closed, so you'll have to see. You'll have to let me know what you see. But I think Judy definitely looks worse for wear than the Divina one is. I feel like you can tell where my eyelid closes, but I do have hooded eyes, and I think the pigment is still staying in place, even if it's kind of like gathered there a little bit more. This looks like it gathered there, but it like magnetically sucked the pigment away from where it's supposed to be. You know? The only thing though is I just feel like there's like a peachiness in this one that I don't think the Divina one has, which keeps me from being like they're exactly the same. But they are so similar. They are so similar. Nocturne Ash is so good. I already have a long-standing relationship with it. I wore it like on my birthday. I love this shadow. And I do think that if you have Judy, if you bought Judy, if you've been enjoying it, keep enjoying it, of course. But if you've been wanting this one and it's been sold out and you're disappointed, I would say definitely just go for Nocturne Ash. Or if you have Nocturne Ash, then like you're already set, because this is the one that I want to keep. Okay, I'm really intrigued by Electric, so I want to see how that looks on my eye. It picks up nicely. It really reminds me of Adept shadows that I've tried. That's so pretty. That's such like a bold, wet look finish. But you know what I want to compare it to? Adept ACD5. She's back a second time in this video. One of my favorite shadows of all time, and I feel like it looks similar, you know? It looks similar. I wonder also because I don't know, I mean, I think Adept is still made in a lab, it's not handmade, but I know that they're made differently now than they were made when this original Plain Jane palette came out in 2020, which is also when I got ACD5. These are also made in a lab, and I feel like there's a bunch of brands that have the formula that looks like this. I think, is it Gavisi? I don't think so. There's some brand that has like eyeliners that also came out with eyeshadows that looked like these. I think it's Belle Cosmetics also came out with shadows that look like these, and I just feel like they're all made in the same place. But my Adept ones don't smell. So that just makes me wonder, it's like, did Simply Posh go like a cheaper route, opt out of ingredients that mask a smell or something, or are they made a cheaper way where like they smell bad because like they are bad? I don't know. Let's pop ACD5 over here. I don't think it's the same exact shade. It is hard sometimes because my light, my ceiling light is like a little bit that way. So I feel like the light could be hitting my eyelids slightly differently. But I would know. I think, without a doubt, this has a little bit more pink to the base, and this has a little bit more brown to the base, but the bluish cool tone sparkle on top does look the same to me. I think the shadow looks beautiful. I wish it didn't smell. I wish so bad that I was just doing a regular old eye swatch video with these, because I'm disappointed. I wanted these for so long. I knew they might be like Adept formula And I really like that Adept formula. And I'm disappointed that, like, I don't like this palette because it smells. But yeah, I would say that the quality of this seems just as good as this. When it comes to creasing though, these Adept ones do crease a lot, so I would imagine these ones crease a lot too. But if that's what I have to do for this type of finish, that's what I'm prepared to do. Okay, here's the first row of the palette. They felt the same with the exception of this one. And you could tell it is a much more pigmented formula. It doesn't have that like light, airy bounciness, and it also doesn't seem to have that same wet shine. On the next row, I would say only this first one, Surreal, had that feel that I really like. I'm gonna move over to swatching here. And this last one felt pretty gummy and dry. And then this final row, this first one had the feeling I don't like so much. And the rest of them felt very soft, even though the colors vary a little bit from the typical colors of the ones that feel very soft, you know? Sorry, this is kind of messy swatches, but these look so pretty. I can definitely see why I was so intrigued by the swatches into wanting this for so long. Wow. Even just like look at my fingers. Oh, that looks so pretty. I wonder if there's like such thing as like letting your eyeshadows air out. Like, can I just leave this open in my backyard for a week and come back and find it ready to rumble? Cute. Cute. I'm gonna try a drier one. This is the shade Vivid. That got a little messy, but that's probably my fault. I bet these drier ones pick up better with a brush also, but like, even that, like, that looks great. I feel like despite the difference in textures, none of them have that wet rock thing. And if they look fantastic, then like, that's okay with me. Look how cute this is. Damn. I don't know yet what I want to do with this palette because it does just like look so nice, and I don't know, I spent my own money on it. I'm not ready to say goodbye to it, but I'm also just like really bummed. I'm gonna do a couple color comparisons to the Adept palette. Like ACI 6 is this purpley one. Yeah, I don't think it has an exact match, but the formula feels and looks the same. While I still am not going to be decluttering the Simply Posh palette yet, I think I do need to like just channel these feelings into getting better use out of this Plain Jane. Because the Plain Jane palette is gorgeous. Yeah. Yeah, these four are all Plain Jane, and they're really pretty. These are so pretty too. So this is what I'm prepared to do this fine evening. The single shadows from Simply Posh, I'm gonna declutter these. I feel like these are just a total miss, and I feel like I wouldn't like them even if they weren't stinky. Maybe I would hold on to the shimmer if they weren't stinky, but there's still strikes against that too with it doing the hard pan thing. For the Odin's eyeshadows, I'm definitely gonna get rid of Robert, and I'm definitely gonna get rid of Chloe, and I'm definitely keeping Kevin, and I'm definitely getting rid of Charlotte, and I'm definitely getting rid of Isabella, and I guess I'm getting rid of Judy. So that leaves Maja and Ingrid. Yeah, I feel like I'm not ready right now to decide which one I want to keep because, as I said, I think I have 2 of these little containers, so I would like to keep 2 shadows and that's it. But I just don't know between these 2 right now which one it'll be. I kind of feel like it'll be Maja, actually, which surprises me because I really liked Ingrid. But in the swatches, it just didn't seem as bright and impressive. And maybe Royal Pear will take its spot. Or also, I know there's like really pretty lime greens from Terra Moons that usually I don't pay too much attention to. If you have any experience with those, let me know. Usually I kind of skip past the greens. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But I mean, I did talk about this in my start of the year video that I do want to be cycling through my products a little bit quicker so I'm not holding on to so many. So although this is sad because I'm not getting rid of them just because like they're bad and I'm ready, I do feel like I bought them to make content and like here's the content. I hope that this video can be helpful to you. And again, if you have any of these and you haven't noticed any of the things I'm talking about, keep doing you, you know? The last thing I want to do is tell you not to enjoy your makeup, but I do just want to share, and I feel like, not that I have like a responsibility to, because it's not that serious. It's just a little bit of an art supply smell, but I did do the whole video ice watching the Odin's Eye one, so I want to complete that saga by letting you know how I feel about them three weeks or so after filming that video. And yeah, I hope this was fun to watch. I hope this wasn't too negative. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know if you have any thoughts on anything regarding stinkiness or Odin's eyeshadows or anything like that. I would really love to hear them. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Bye.